Hello, and thank you for tuning into this video. My name is Nick Chu, and I am the Technology Product Manager here at True North School, with nearly a decade of experience in the technology and education industries. Today, I'll discuss the Measure of Academic Progress, or MAP test with you, where we'll cover how it relates to your child's education and discuss how we will use the insights from these MAP reports to understand and measure your students' academic achievement. Before we begin, I'd like to clarify, if this is your child's first time taking the MAP test, their results may not reflect their true knowledge or abilities. They'll have future opportunities to take the MAP test, and students tend to improve with additional practice. In this video, we will discuss the NWEA, will give an overview of MAP testing, discuss a glossary of terms, and cover the student progress report, which includes the progress chart, the details RIT score table, and subject goal performance. Who is the NWEA? The NWEA, or Northwest Evaluation Association, is a nonprofit organization which was founded in 1977 by educators and researchers. It has administered MAP growth tests for more than 12 million students in the United States and more than 1,500 schools in 146 countries around the world. The NWEA specializes in providing support to educators with detailed information about the academic progress of students. What is MAP testing? The MAP growth test is the most trusted assessment for measuring achievement and growth in K-12 math, reading, and language usage. It provides teachers with accurate, actionable evidence to help inform instructional strategies regardless of how far a student are below or above grade level. It also connects to the largest set of instructional content providers, giving educators flexibility in curriculum choices. How does this assessment work? The test is adaptive, which means that it adjusts to each student's responses. If a student gets a question right, it gets harder. If a student gets a question wrong, it gets easier. MAP tests are given individually on the computer. Each test is made up of about 40 to 43 questions, which measure the student's abilities in math, reading, or the English language usage. There is no time limit for the MAP test. Students can complete the test at their own pace. Most students take less than an hour to complete a test. At True North School, students will take the MAP test twice per year, once in the fall and once in the spring. A report will be issued to parents, and it's called the Progress Report. Glossary of the main terms used in the Progress Report. Before we go into the details of the Progress Report, we are going to look at the glossary of main terms. The glossary provides definitions for the words used in the MAP test so parents can better understand the reports. Please remember to read through the glossary, as it will be helpful when we go over the reports later. Student Progress Report. Let's move on to the Progress Report. In this video, we will use report templates from the NWEA with more data and statistics so that parents can have a vision of how the test should look like. The Progress Report has 3 different areas for data reporting about student performance. First is the progress chart. The second is the details RIT score table. And last is the subject goals performance. The progress chart. This chart compares a student's score to the average score of all students at the same grade level, both locally and nationally. In this report, we can see 5 different sets of data, and at the bottom, you'll see them labeled SP15 through SP19. This refers to the semester and year that these tests were taken. In this example report, the students had taken 5 different tests in the spring of 2015 all the way through the spring of 2019. The blue columns, labeled Student RIT, indicate the student's score. For example, you can see that this student in the spring of 2015 earned a score of 174 on the math test. And in the spring of 2019, the student's score improved to 223. The orange columns, labeled District Grade Level Mean RIT, indicate the average score for all of the other students at the school who took the test at the same time and at the same grade level. If the report is of a True North School student, this data will be based on the True North School statistics. The yellow columns, labeled Norm Grade Level Mean RIT, indicate the average score of all students across the country at the same grade level who have taken the test at the same time. The column with blue diagonal stripes on the far right of the graph, labeled Student RIT Projection, indicates the projected RIT score when the student takes a future test. The projection is based on the student's actual RIT score in the first term of the growth comparison period and on average growth for students nationally who were in the same grade and tested in the same time. The average growth comes from the NWEA norm study. If we look at this student's test results from the test that was taken from the spring of 2019, we can make a few observations. First of all, this student's score is noticeably lower than the average score of his grade level peers in the same school. But on the other hand, his scores were only 2 points lower than the national average among all students across the country who took the same test at the same grade level and time. We can also see that this student's peers at the school performed noticeably higher than the national average. Details RIT score table. This table is meant to provide a snapshot of how a student's skills and cognitive abilities have grown over time using each prior MAP test as a benchmark. Each row in the chart represents a completed test. In this example, the top row indicates the student result from the test completed in the spring of 2019 when the student was in 6th grade. The RIT column shows the student's RIT scores, with the middle number being the actual RIT score achieved, and the other two numbers providing a range indicating that if the student were to take the test again, they would likely score within these values. So, on this test, the student's actual score was 223, and if they were to take that same test again, the score would likely be between 220 and 226. The RIT growth column indicates the difference between the student's RIT score from one semester to another. We can see that this student's score in the math test improved by 12 points between spring 2018 and spring 2019, going from 211 to 223. The growth projection column is a measure of how the student's score is predicted to grow based on the student's performance on previous tests. In this case, the student's score in spring 2019 was projected to grow by 6 points, which means the student substantially exceeded their expected progress when they improved by 12. Percentile range indicates the student's percentile rank. The percentile rank tells you where the student scored in comparison with other students in the same grade across the country. For example, if the student's percentile rank was 40, that means the student scored at least as well as 40% of other students in the same grade nationally. The student's percentile rank is bolded. The numbers on either side of the bold number take into account the standard error for that student's particular MAP test. The score is given as this range because any test can have some error associated with it, and this range indicates that if the student were to take the MAP test again, the student's score would have a high likelihood of falling within that range. Generally, any percentile score above 50 should be considered as above the national average, and anything below 50 would be below the national average. Subject Goals Performance. Goals Performance provides a more detailed breakdown of the student's MAP test. The results are broken down into smaller subcategories, which the NWEA refers to as goals. It provides more details into the student's abilities within specific components of a given subject area. These descriptors are exceptionally useful in helping teachers map out where to start in the student's preparation process for the next test. The above explanation will be similar for all three sections: math, reading, and English language usage. However, reading contains an additional area called lexile range. The lexile range is a quantitative measurement that is based on both reading and text difficulty. Lexile is a trademark of Metametrics Inc. This range helps identify appropriately challenging books, periodicals, and other reading materials for the student. Below, we'll share a link about the lexile range so you can have more details for yourself if needed. If there are questions about the reading and language usage section, please contact your child's ELA or ELL instructor, and if it's a math question, reach out to their math teacher. If you would like more information from NWEA directly, please go to the website below. Thank you.